him all the way and basically get him out the thing. Look at what this clown says about what happened.
There were two instances in recent days where leaders, former President Obama and George Maloney of Italy, they physically put hands on the president to guide him and show him, give stage directions. Are they doing that on their own, or has anybody asked them to run the show like that?
First of all, Remy spoke to the most recent, right? And as we saw on Saturday, President Obama's office put out a statement. So I would refer you to that statement about what was being accused in those.
We didn't see it with our eyes.
By others, and he said this did not happen in the sense of what people were saying they were seeing, right? Or what was being falsely reported that they were seeing. Let's not forget, President Obama, President Biden have a relationship. They are friends. They're like family to each other. And I think that's what you saw.
Oh, okay.
You saw the president put his hand on the back of President Biden, and
She's reading.
And they walked off the stage after taking questions or at an event taking questions from.
And Rob, there's one more that she says deep fake. She's like, they're deep fake. Like, there's a lot of deep fakes happening right now. Like, let's see. Yeah, can we see this one? She's reading.
Conservative Washington Examiner did call them out as well, calling out the New York Post. Ironically, several recent sheet fakes actually attacked the president for thanking troops. For thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for. Both in Normandy this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate, Republicans are here.
Desperate, yeah,
and
for sure.
Instead of
she's
talking
glowing.
about
What a horrible
the
jacket
president's
choice.
performance in
You're
office, and
glowing.
what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country. We're seeing these deep fakes.
And she does the whole. If you watch Obama,
even Maloney did it, right? We showed it a couple weeks ago. Adam, what are your thoughts on this here? Like, do you have an opinion?
Yeah, I have a massive opinion here, but I'm going to focus on the purpose of the event, which was a fundraiser, not like Michael Scott does in The Office, a fundraiser. But yeah, we can show Biden being slow and old for days. I mean, that's nothing new here. What is new is the fact that the $30 million they raised in one night was the most successful, largest raise in the history of the Democratic Party. So you put Obama, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and you throw in a little bit of Jack Black for a little comedy act, and you got Jimmy Kimmel, who's the stooge of the left. You raised $30 million in a night. I would call that a successful evening for the Democratic Party. By the way, ticket prices range from $250, easy access right there, to $500,000, which got you front row seats, a photo with both presidents, Obama and Biden, and then, after the party, it's the after party. You got to go party with Joe Biden. Ain't no party like a Joe Biden party. We all know that. Riding with Biden. But follow the money here. There's a website called Open Secrets. Shout out to Rob O'Rourke for bringing me onto that. But here's the, they say follow the money. Here's the money count of what's going on between the three major candidates. When I mean two major candidates, and then RFK. Joe Biden has raised $300 million. This is talking about just for the campaign. He spent $185 million already, and has $160 million cash on hand. Trump, a little bit behind Biden, has raised $244 million, has spent $203 million, and still has $107 million cash on hand. Then a distant RFK, and they're saying that he has a cash crunch, has raised $95 million, spent $64 million, and has about $30 million on hand. We all know that he picked Nicole Shanahan, who was the Silicon Valley attorney, former spouse to one of the Google boys, Sergey Brin, and she contributed, I think, $10 million to the campaign. But follow the money here. The famous quote from the president, James Garfield, we talk about him all the time, the 20th president of the United States. He said, "He who controls the money of a nation controls the nation." So if you want to know a reason why Biden still has a chance, despite how old, senile, decrepit he is that he's out there raising money. And we'll see if Trump can compete with that in the purse category.
But my question, because Adam, you kind of just brushed over it, because the main thing was that doesn't bother you that the guy has been for the past 4 years and it's getting really bad this past, I'll say 3 months. He's freezing. The Juneteenth thing, his hands get stuck like this. They have to guide him everywhere. He can't speak coherently.
Yeah, but I'm with you, but this isn't a new story. We've been doing this for 4 years. So is there something new?
No, but what I'm saying is it's getting to the point where, because to me, this is the president, this is the leader of the free world. The nuclear, remember the nuclear codes, everybody worried about Trump. This guy is clearly not in charge. So whatever, and that's why Trump is such a threat, because Trump never said, hey, they said I can't talk. He's not running the show. Rob, you have another video of him in the White House I sent you? Did you see yesterday? They're trying to, yell questions at him, and he goes, he mumbles to a little bit, right? This one right here. This is the president of the United States in the White House trying to be professional. Look at this guy. I made a video making fun of him too.
Me here in the Oval Office, and I look very much forward to the NATO summit in Washington, D.C. next month. Thank you.
Yeah, he doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Watch. Look at the president of the United States. Watch. He has no.
He's clowning the.
No, he's clowning it. Well, listen. You're the president. You're not supposed to act like a psycho. So what I'm saying is, Adam, does it bother you that he's the president of the United States isn't running the country? He's not making. That guy's not making decisions. Do you know what I mean? Besides the money, I can care less. That money's going to go to Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama. It doesn't bother you that he's not in charge?
Well, listen, we're not in the White House. I'll tell you one thing that our friend Cuomo said to me that it's even scarier. Is he said that he has he told us this at lunch. I'm not going to name names. And he said, you don't want to know what's scarier that Biden not running the country is that he's actually the one running the country. So which one do you want it? Is there someone pulling the strings and the puppet that's behind him? Do you want that?
I don't want it.
Or do you want
it is what
Biden
it is.
behind the wheel? Here's the reality though, Vin.
That is the
And I
reality.
know that obviously you're not a fan of Biden, and I've already come out and said I can't possibly endorse this guy and vote for this guy. And you can quote me.
Okay.
He's going to be the nominee. He's going to have millions and hundreds of millions of dollars behind him. And it's going to be, wait for it, a close election. It is what it is, bro.
And why is it going to be a close election? Because all the illegals that are here that are actually going to vote for this person, the person that they're promising the future.
If that's the angle you want to go, sure. But there's also something. What's the story about the double haters? PBD, what page is that? 16. Here's a story. This is the election that nobody wants, the dread election. The share of double haters hits historic high. Pew Research, pretty credible, shows that 25% of Americans hold unfavorable views of both President Biden and President Trump, the highest percentage of double haters in the last 10 elections. So the reality is this election is going to come down to 6% of voters in 6 states. Listen, Biden's at 40%, Trump's at 41%. Those are the numbers, bro. Is it possible for Biden to win? Well, yeah. Even in Vegas, he's just a slight underdog. So I don't, there's this, God forbid, there's this talk of this civil war. God forbid Trump wins. I'm actually rooting for the guy. I don't want the guy to go to jail. I actually would love for him to kind of bring the country together. But
Michelle and Ken.
Trump and Biden
at the
are
most important one on that list. What is
Michelle
the most?
Obama?
No, not at all.
Robert
Newsom.
Kennedy? Oh, Newsom's creeping up.
No, he's not
Newsom
creeping up.
has
He's
dropped
creeping down.
tremendously.
Where was he?
He was
And
at 14 to 1 at one point.
Yeah, so what they're saying for sure is Kamala's not going to be the president.
Definitely
That's
not.
for sure.
Thank God.
Newsom, 50 to 1.
Yeah.
For wow, that's actually for some of the people that are bettors, that's actually not a bad bet in case last minute they did something. Put it down on it, you'll make 50.
Yeah.
RFK 28 to 1. Nikki Haley is ahead of Newsom, Vinny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this is Vegas odds. They're not going to give up money if they didn't know what was going
Exactly.
on. But Michelle is still
And
Right there.
Yeah, Michelle's right. So basically what they're saying is, and I've been saying for years, Michelle has never served in office. I don't think she's ever going to run for office. I think it's a pipe dream.
Neither did
but
Trump, Trump didn't run for office.
Thanks, Vinny. But he's been flirting with running for office for
He could flirt.
40 years.
She was married to the president.
Let me ask you a random question, Adam. Here's a random question for you. Okay, so Biden doesn't look good. let's say actually he's hospitalized. Let's say he's hospitalized, and it goes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, not looking good. First week, they tell us he's going to be fine. He's just doing a regular checkup, and they're going to come out and they're doing a small little procedure. Second week, third week, now it's getting serious. Now they have to come out and, Health Matters takes over. He is how old, Rob? 81?
He's 81.
Okay.
Trump just turned 78.
Right,
Obviously,
but
that's a big difference.
Trump does not look 78.
Correct.
He acts like
I'm with you.
So if that takes place, Tom, what happens?
I think they ultimately will, exercise the amendment. And the amendment is we all know there's an amendment in the Constitution
25th
for the incapacitated president. And if the president is incapacitated and deemed that he cannot serve the office, not because you're unconscious after you had a surgery, but because your health situation is now deteriorating and you are incapable, you are incapable and reasonable conclusion of continuing presidency, the vice president becomes president. That's it.
So by the way, purely statistically, it's not a bad bet to bet on Kamala right now for becoming a president.
If that happens,
no, because just forget about the possibilities and all this stuff. It's a health matter. That's a real thing. 81. He does not look good. He looks like he's going through something.
He's an old 81.
Yes.
As I said.
So if something happens the next few months, okay, Kamala could very likely
Step in.
be a president, even if it's for 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah. I think what we're discussing is two separate issues. Is there a chance that, God forbid, something happens with Biden over the next few months? Believe me, I'd rather have Joe Biden run the country than Kamala Harris. I think that's the last thing we want. That's why she's not even favored above Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama. Nobody wants that. But I think what we're talking about is who's running in 2024. And I'm this isn't my specialty, but candidates don't get anointed. They go through delegate process and they go through the super delegates, and there's going to be a whole process to who they're going to nominate during the DNC. They can't be like, well, Michelle, you got it, baby. Go ahead, go for it. No, there's going to be a process to this. But again, I'll continue to remind you, despite what all the haters say, Joe Biden's the guy.
Okay, we bet $100, so we'll see.
We bet $1,000.
Yeah, I have a bet. I have a bet with Tom for $1,000. I have a bet with Byron Udell for $1,000. But you scared to put your money where your mouth is. Only $100.
It's not a bet with me. It's $1,000 goes to Wounded Warriors.
You're giving me the money, and I'm going to donate to the charity of my choice, Tom.
Yeah, tell them.
Oh, really? Now it's going to the charity of your choice.
I said that on day one.
We're going to go, no. The bullshit alarm just hit 10. You said it's for you and you were keeping it. And then you were dissing Wounded Warriors, dude. Let's go back. Let's not revise history. So you just had a full Democrat relapse, amigo.
Thank you. Tom,
all right, let's
just be prepared to give me a check for $1,000 or cash, and I'll figure it out what I'm doing.
The bet is,
thanks, sir.
At the conclusion of the Democratic convention, if Joe Biden is the nominee, I'll give you $1,000. If
correct.
Not, you give me $1,000.
That's how bets work. Thank you. Just be prepared to pay.
Here's what we're doing at the Comedy Club, 5990 Live. We and our staff will be watching the debate, and we'll do a podcast at night. The debate is at 9 o'clock, 9 to 10:30. So we're talking about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will probably start at 8:30 and go till about 11:30 and comment on it. And there's going to be an audience there of our teammates, and family and friends will be there as well. However, for the first 50 people that purchase $300 worth of merch, we will give you 2 tickets to come and attend the event with us.